What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Rooted Life Podcast.
Hey.
It's Doe Moe, and we're back with episode 6. We are more than halfway through the season, which means if you're new here, you've got a lot of catching up to do.
They can do it.
Run it back. And if not, happy to see y'all again. If you don't know, we've been best friends for 15 years.
Damn.
We started the podcast like 4 or 5 years ago. Took a break, came back. Now we're doing the thing. Look at us.
Look at us.
Why are you making that face?
I'm just considering that we've been friends for 15 years. I'm like, wow, that is a significant amount of time.
That is a very long
There's
amount of time.
There's going to be a point in my life where I've known you longer than I have not known you. We're getting to that point in our lives.
Yeah.
Because we're kind
of, I think, we're about there 15, then, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
In a couple
we get
years.
to like 17, I guess.
Yeah, I would have known you longer than I haven't known you. Yeah. That's what I was thinking about.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah, so long-standing friendship here, guys. Look at that. But we love prioritizing all things faith, wellness, Jesus, relationships, friendships, all the ships, you know?
Oh.
All the ships.
I know. It just it sounded like it was about to be a cuss word, and I was like, whoa, what's about to happen?
Any
tricky word.
Wait, okay, I can already tell this episode about to be silly.
Yeah, it is. We're tired.
We're happy to see y'all. Like, subscribe, all the things.
Yeah.
Stay plugged in so you don't miss all that's going on over here.
Yeah. And then last episode, we talked about working a 9 to 5 and how it's ghetto. But it's really
Ghetto.
It's not, because it's a blessing. Like, I'm glad to have a job to pay my bills.
It's a ghetto blessing. Can it be a ghetto blessing? No?
Let's ask him. So God. No,
let's ask.
It's a blessing. So we just talked about how, I don't know, working is challenging, and sometimes you can have an idea of where your career, your life is going to go, and it's just not linear. And like, how do you figure that out, and how do you remain purpose-filled and mission-driven in a workplace when you're going to face difficult situations and people and leaders and all the things. So all the lessons we've learned in our 15-year profession, I guess, however long we've been working. We've been working for a long time.
Wait a minute.
Well, I've been working for 15 years.
15-year profession?
You've been working for,
about that.
Not profession,
I've been
but your career
since I was
path.
12, but I would say profession.
Well, maybe not profession.
Since
Maybe like
21.
A 15-year span of working.
Sure. I don't know if the camp counselor job counts, but yeah, sure.
I
was learning things.
You learned something.
I'm sure.
So all that to say is we've learned some things, we shared some things, and then today we're kind of getting back to our roots. We're talking about dating. And recapping. So we've done a lot of recaps so far in the season. We talked about like our friendship, our business, our faith, and now it's like, let's recap and catch them up on like our dating lives.
Yeah.
We'll see what God has for us today.
What does he have? Let's find out.
Let's find out. Glows and grows, baby.
Glows and grows. This week I'm growing. Okay. Need to grow in not getting lost in my phone first thing in the morning. It's just challenging, you know?
It is.
Especially when it's like I have a pretty tight morning routine. Like, I love my morning routine. However, I cut the alarm off on my phone and then I check my text messages, which then lead me to check my email, which then sometimes leads me to some other app, which could be a shopping app, could be, I don't know, my Gmail calendar app. It could be anything. But the next thing you know, it's been 45 minutes and I have essentially just wasted time, you know, because
yikes.
I think the thing that really like shifted my focus recently or shifted my perspective was God was like, so you doing all that without me. Like when you don't go to him first in the morning, that means then I am stepping into whatever it is I choose to do with my time without him. And I'm like, oh, it seems so simple. Like, oh, I'm just replying to a text, or, oh, I'm just checking an email, but it's like on your own. And it's like, good luck. Maybe my response would have been different. You know, maybe I would have processed something differently. And so that is what we're going to be growing in. I am going to attempt to use my Alexa as my alarm. Okay. So then when it goes off, I can just say, Alexa, stop. And then I don't even have to go to the phone. So we'll see. I'll keep y'all posted.
Yeah, keep us updated. I don't use my phone alarm. I have a separate alarm, and I've really enjoyed it thoroughly. It's great. Best investment. It's interesting. Today I was going to share a glow, but I'm like, I spend so much time thinking about what I'm not doing well. I don't know if I celebrate enough of what I am doing well. I think that I've done a good job being strategic with my time. Okay. Particularly with the Rooted Life. I was trying to do Rooted Life work after work. I don't have time to do it during the work day. So I was like, I'll do it after work, but I'd be so tired that I wouldn't end my work day till about like 8 or 9. And I just felt like I wasn't getting a break. So I prayed, I'm like, God, can you give me strategy? And so now when I have my to-do list that we have, I coordinate or just determine what I'm going to work on each day. And I do Rooted Life before my work day. That's helped significantly. So I can give Rooted Life like the best of me and not the leftover after work when I'm just too tired to think strategically. So I do Rooted Life in the morning now.
I've heard this, and I don't know if I've heard it on the podcast or not, but
I told you this?
Celebrating, yes.
I told you this?
Yes, I've heard that exact thing. So I'm like, did you say this already on the podcast? But if not,
I just started doing it though.
Okay. I don't think that, maybe you didn't say it on the podcast. Maybe you said it in family group or something. I'm like, I have heard this.
Maybe in family group.
Either way, we're celebrating.
Yeah, family group sounds about right. Family group sounds right. Because I think we have family group right after I came home from Mother's Day. And that's when I made the
change.
Yeah. It's been helpful.
Love it.
That's my glow. Being better with my time. Still need to work on being timely, but being better with my time at home. What was that?
I didn't.
Yeah, I saw something.
Did you hear a word?
I saw a face. I
didn't say anything.
I didn't like it. Okay.
Okay, next.
Are we okay? I think we're getting to that point where you're just like tired and silly and us, not you. Okay, so like I said, we're talking about dating, which is really our roots because we started this off when we were both very... Oh my God, Rooted Life. I never put that together. Yeah. Wow, play on words. We started this off when we were both very single and had a lot of free time and loved the Lord. And a lot of our content at the beginning really was around dating. So it feels like we're kind of, going back to where we started. I feel like when we first started, there really wasn't a lot of Christian dating content out. That was
no, there wasn't.
How many years ago was that? 4 or 5?
5 years. But this was now before the pandemic.
Yeah, there was a lot of content out.
Pandemic birthed a lot for a lot of people.
It did.
More ways than one.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. I was thinking it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content out, but I feel like a lot of content I see now are from people who are already married. So I think it might be interesting for people to hear a perspective from people who are still figuring it out.
Single.
Some have made it further than others.
Nah, it's not a competition.
We'll be there one day. Not a competition, but some of us have seen a lot of success. I feel like you've seen a lot of success in dating. Okay. Yeah, it's a good thing.
That's cool.
So I'm excited for us to share kind of what our dating lives were. Last year, what were some fails, what were some lessons? So yeah, I know it was challenging for both of us. So what was your love life like, tongue twister, last year? And what lessons did you walk away with?
So last year was year 2 of being in a relationship.
Yay.
Year 2 is different from year 1. Yeah, year 1, you really are like riding that wave. It's like, oh my God, is this really happening? You are so much fun. This is great. So sweet. And then year 2, you're like, okay, are we really gonna do this? Is this really gonna be a thing?
Okay.
And then I think really what happens in year 2, if you're someone who is like, willing to see yourself, you start to see some things that you may not like. Because in year 1, a lot of that gets masked by the honeymoon, if you will, the wave of like the electricity of like finding someone that you really like and are connecting with. And year 2, some of that starts to fizzle. And so then you start to kind of see like, oh, do I have some issues? Am I the drama?
Am I the drama?
No, that can't be right.
No way.
But it was right. I started to see that I have a little bit of an anxious attachment style. Started to see that I have some controlling tendencies. Okay. And I just started to see things in myself that I didn't particularly like care for. And I think they started to play out in the relationship to where I'm realizing that like I am hindering like the potential for our growth. Now he has some things too, but we're talking about me today. So I just started to see like, when in transitioning from single to dating, if you are dating with the intention of being married, then like your focus has to shift, because now I'm moving from just like being in this space of dating to thinking about like, well, what will this look like long term? And long term, this is not going to work if I continue to go down the same path that I'm going. This has been cool to get us through year 1. It's been cool to get us through a year and a half, but like long term, I can't keep taking everything personal, or you're never going to be able to be honest with me and share some things or reveal some things about me if every time you have something to say, I clam up and I start crying. Like we're not going to go anywhere. And so, that was my experience last year of just really seeing that like there are levels to relationships. There's levels to kind of growing and deciding to partner with someone. And it's not as like, light and fluffy, I think, as sometimes it can be made to seem. It's just like, oh, you just find your person. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into actually like maintaining a healthy relationship. So that was really what 2023 was about for me. I think the biggest lesson that came out of that was I learned over the course of last year through our friendship and through that relationship that like I can be avoidant when it comes to hard conversations and that the only way to get better at communicating with people is to practice. And so a year later, it's still scary when there's things that I want to share or you know, a hard conversation needs to happen, but it's so much easier now that I have like started to work that muscle. And so, yeah. Progress.
I'm so proud of
progress.
you. You've done so much work. It's so clear to me.
I have really tried.
Big fan of her.
Thank you.
Big fan.
Yeah. What about you? Dating life.
I wish I was. We were talking about it earlier. I wish they could just put a trash can over my face, like an emoji, and I could just be a talking trash can.
Yeah.
Trash.
Like Oscar.
Yeah. Literally crabby and angry at the world because I'm by myself.
Oh God.
Trash.
Why?
No, really.
Why trash?
A few things.
A few things.
Many things. Me. It was me. I was the drama.
Okay.
I think a lot of things. I think that we talked about this. It's like certain situations reveal different things of you. Like, and when you step into a new role, there's something new you learn about yourself.
Yeah.
So there's things that you probably would have never known, or maybe you would have eventually. It just would have taken much longer.
Yeah.
But when you became a girlfriend, there's things you learn. And like when we become mothers, we'll learn things. And when we become wives, and when you become a leader, there's just things that become revealed to you as a result.
As you grow.
Yeah, as you grow, like things are revealed. And so I feel like because I hadn't dated in like 6 years, a lot of things rose to the surface. And I'm like, all this stuff was dormant. And you can think that you've overcome things. You can think that you've figured it out. And maybe you have made some progress, but it's like, something about relationships in different roles just like bring things that were once dormant up to the surface. So I feel like last year was like a year of like everything just coming to the top. And I'm like, there is so much for me to work on. This is a little overwhelming because I didn't know these things. And so it's almost feeling like blindsided by yourself. You're like, I'm with me all the time. How did I not know? How have I had so many blind spots and so unaware? So I feel like it was a year of things coming to the surface for me. I think also recognizing patterns has been really helpful for me. I think also, again, rejection can feel so personal, but rejection is not personal. What does Dr. Darius talk about? Like rejection is God's divine redirection. He says that.
Sounds about right.
It's something I'm paraphrasing, but ultimately it's like, if someone's rejecting you, like that's good.
Yeah.
They're not wasting your time. You're not wasting your time. They can find what's better for them and you can find what's better for you.
That's
and
right.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So I experienced quite a bit of rejection last year, which was very challenging and hard. And then I just realized that like God has to do it. I mean, I knew he had to do it, but now I'm like, oh, you really.
Yeah. It's not up to me.
You really have to do it. It won't happen. And I can play my little part, but I need you to play like 99%. Like I need you to do 99% of the work and I can do 1, as opposed to before I think I was trying to do 99% and then be like, come aboard.
Yeah.
But like he has to orchestrate and make it happen, or it just simply won't happen. So I'm resting in the fact that like he has to make it happen and I believe he will.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It sounds like both of us have been introspective then.
Yeah,
and I mean,
that's a
and
good
just like
word.
recognizing your role, like your part in it, which I mean, is a big part of relationships. Like seeing how you show up and how that impacts the success or detriment of the relationship. And it sounds like we're both talking about doing a lot of individual work, which I believe starts at like your motivation. Like, why do you even want to be in a relationship? So what have you discovered about your own motivations, and how do you think that impacts or is impacting how you're approaching dating now?
Yeah, I think that I've approached dating from a place of fear. A fear of like, I don't want to be alone. And if you even think about like, we grew up in the 90s. So it's like anybody who was like our age, single in the shows, there was always jokes about them being single. Like you think about it, the auntie who never had kids, like they were always, it was almost like an underlining like comedic theme that like older women, we're not even older, but you know, 30-year-old women without children, there was something wrong. And so I think I really did have this idea of like, I don't want to be like the 30 plus woman alone, being made fun of for being alone.
Like Joan.
Yeah. So many women, like, I don't know, it's kind of sad. But anyway, I think that a lot of my dating came out of fear. I think also like a scarcity mindset of like, there's not enough good men left. And if I don't get mine, all the good ones are taken. And it's like, I just don't believe that. Like if my God has a cattle on 1,000 hills that
Come on,
what he can provide for me is limitless. Like he don't have any limits. Like he can do anything. Right. He made the whole universe. So one person for me, I just think he can do that. Easy. One person, he can do it. So I think also just recognizing how I was approaching it from a place of fear and a scarcity mindset has been important, because your why impacts your sustainability. And your why is going to impact the ability for that thing to continue to go. And that's with anything in life. Like your why is going to it's going to propel you to either keep pushing forward or not. That's at work, that's in relationships. And so I think being really clear about your why helps you approach relationships, hopefully will help me approach it just from a more healthy and sustainable way. So I'm not going to them to heal wounds and do things that a person can't do. Me and God got to do that work together. So
you and God, baby.
What about you, boo?
I mean, I think I was motivated more so about like what this could do for me.
That's real.
And
that's
like,
real.
And often, I mean, I think that's a trend in my life. I'm always kind of like, okay, how do I benefit from this? What's the win for me? And that's not a great place to go looking for a relationship, because what I've learned in dating Jared is that it didn't leave a lot of room for him, for his desires, for his wants, and for him to be seen, because I was so focused on like what it is that I can get out of this situation. So I realized like my motivation impacted my expectation. I had unrealistic expectations of how he would show up or how I needed to show up, because I'm motivated by like me being fulfilled and satisfied, which then also doesn't leave room for like the humility to lay down whatever it is that I feel like I may want in a particular moment if he needs something else. It just made me super selfish, I think. And I started to see a lot of that in year 2, to the point where he even had to just kind of be like, I feel like you don't be leaving a lot of room for me in this relationship. And I'm like, oh, I guess you do need some space here. And it's like, well, is this a relationship or not? Because otherwise you could be by yourself, And I think real. Oftentimes being single women who are past the like we got married in college and like we've now been on our own for a long time and been independent, it's easy to pick up that mindset of like, I can't do for myself, so you need to get with the program. Like this is how I run my life, so you can slide in. And it's like, that's not partnership. Like partnership is deciding to build something new together. And so realizing that and kind of shifting my motivation to wanting to be a healthy and like helpful partner. Like how can I support you and lean into what it is that you like and are interested in? And it gets, it can be deep, but it can also be as simple as like, I don't really like being outside like that. But that man loves being outside. And so it's like, how do I show up in a way that I'm not motivated by like what makes me feel good all the time, but I'm motivated by like wanting to be in a happy and healthy relationship, which means sometimes doing things that would not be my preference, but I know that it will bring you a lot of joy. And because I love and care for you, I'm willing to do that. So yeah, it's been interesting. But
she learning.
She growing. I mean, your girl be running outside now.
Yeah.
Like,
you be sending me pictures. Y'all be outside on walks and stuff. I'd be like, outside. Wow, God would give her somebody who loves outside. I think that's so ironic.
Like we celebrated 2 years and he took the lead on like what it is that we're doing. We do this adventure challenge. And what's funny about the irony is that he didn't actually pick the challenge itself. He let me pick the challenge. He just picked the fact that we were going to do one. I scratch off the one where it's like, go for a walk outside for 30 minutes. I'm like, in June? Oh, okay. I would love to. Happy anniversary. No, but it was great.
It's just, God just has a sense of humor. I'm just convinced that he is the funniest.
He's great. He's great.
I really feel like on the same through line of motivation, I feel like contentment is kind of wrapped up in that. Of like what you find contentment in and what are you going to the relationship for. And so I know that contentment, I feel like it's kind of a theme that I feel like in the Christian circle we hear a lot about contentment, but I think in real life it can really feel like a tug of war. So I'd love to kind of hear, how have you wrestled with contentment in dating in the past, and like how is that showing up currently for you in your romantic life?
Yeah. I said this before with us, but like your level of contentment while dating is influenced by your level of contentment while single. And I realized that for me, contentment while single was a moving target. It was like it was a holdover. It was just like, yeah, I'm content. on my way to.
Yeah.
I'm content so that I can get
Right.
to the thing that it is that I really want, which meant that once I started dating, I picked up that same mentality. It's like, yeah. I'm excited to be with you, and I'm content on my way to, now I want a ring, which is then like, oh, now I'm content to, now I want this grand wedding. And it's like, if contentment is a means to like hold you over, then you'll never really find the joy that you could have access to in any season.
Yep.
Because you will always be looking for the next. And I feel like God essentially just kind of had to show me that, yeah, I'm the source. That's him talking, not me.
We know.
But God had to show me like he is the source of joy. He is the source of strength. He is the source of really just like delight. And if he truly is my source, then any stage I'm in a relationship, I should be able to find contentment in him and knowing that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
That's good.
And so now being in a relationship, it's like you always have to just remember to bring it back to him. Because everything's, whether you're single, dating, engaged, married, like it's going to suck at some point in time in every single stage is going to suck. So it's really about just seeking to find that joy in him wherever you are. Yeah.
Ooh, contentment. If the question is how have you wrestled with contentment, I would say it's just been WWE. I feel like I'm like, I don't even know how they be wrestling, but I feel like this is a big, something with the elbow feels important.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
striking.
It's crucial.
Yeah.
We've struggled, but I really love what you said about contentment being, if you're not content in Christ and content with who he has called you to be and who he is, you will forever be unhappy.
Always.
Because you'll always be thinking that the next is going to get you there, and you get the next and you're still unhappy.
Yep.
And then you get the next and then you miss out on the joy of being here right now and all the stuff that he's doing right now. And so I think it's just so, I do think it's easier said than done, but I have learned that because you can get the thing you wanted and then you can be so disappointed because you're like, this thing was supposed to fulfill me and be everything, and it hasn't. So now I'm disappointed in a blessing that I prayed for that actually brings me joy because I had unrealistic expectations about a thing that was never supposed to do what I wanted to do. It wasn't even designed to do that.
Pause. Now I'm disappointed with my blessing. Like that's like an oxymoron.
That's wild.
That's literally insane.
I know God be looking like, Lord.
Your heart posture has caused you to be disappointed in the blessing because you thought that the blessing was it instead of the blesser. Oof.
Make that the clip. Make that the clip. Wow. That's
crazy.
Convicting.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it also just, I think it just goes to show how much it rests in our hands. Like
that's true.
How contentment really is orchestrated by where our heart sits.
So true.
Like that's not on God. That's on you. So if you're unhappy with whatever in whatever season, that's really on you. It's on you to go figure out like, why am I not able to find joy single, married, with kids, single mother, whatever the situation is. And that's tough.
And it's not to negate that there are hard situations.
100%.
But I think contentment's like, it's a daily, moment by moment decision.
Yeah.
I'm making the choice to be pleased with what he's doing right now.
Yes.
I'm just deciding, I'm pleased with this. This is good for me. It's not perfect. I'm satisfied. It ain't everything I want it to be. And I hope this ain't the end of it. But I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
That is really, contentment is just satisfaction.
That's it.
In God.
Yeah.
And in his work and in his plan for you. Wow. Yeah. That's all it is. I've been saying that a lot this season. Like, I just feel so full. But really what I'm saying is I feel content. Wow.
That's really what it is. You're satisfied.
But then it's like every season you still have to fight for it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because then it's like you get something else and you're like, oh, well, other people. And then you get on Instagram and you're like, this thing.
There's
it's just like you're always fighting
external.
to be content in him. But I think in terms of how contentment has impacted me, I think it's impacted my ability to be happy for people that I really love. It impacted my ability to be happy for you. It's like in the back of my mind, I am happy because I want you to be happy. But selfishly, I want you to be where I'm at so that we can just lament over it and like we should. And it's like I had no one told me that we were going to be the same stage of life forever. But when you've been in the same stage of life for 13 years, you just make the foolish assumption we always gonna, and as kids, you plan out with your best friend. Okay, we're going to get married at 26 and then we're going to have kids. And that's not real life.
It's not.
But again, contentment, I had an unrealistic expectation, and now I'm disappointed that God has blessed you when I should really be celebrating because I love you. And I want somebody to love you as much as I love you. But now I'm disappointed that he's blessed you. That's really
backwards.
That is wild to say out loud. But it's true. So I think it just impacted my ability to be happy for you and my ability to be happy with what God was doing and is doing, like, in my heart. Yeah. And I think the last thing, too, is like, when you have a scarcity mindset, I've recognized at times I would be on a dating app, like rushing, like, ooh, I gotta hurry up. I'm competitive. And it's like, when you're content, you ain't gotta rush. Yeah. I'm not rushing for nothing. I'm not forcing anything. I'm not pressed about nothing because I know the maker of the universe got my back. So it's like, it also gives you contentment, gives you a level of peace where I don't feel the need to be in control and manipulate and maneuver everything. I'm just going to be obedient and trust that he's working it out and I'm satisfied with his plan. Yeah. Look at him. He doing the work in my heart.
Look at him.
Ooh, this look good on me. I need a mirror. This look good on me. It's my mirror.
I'm dead.
Wow.
Yeah,
progress.
lots of lessons. Many lessons. Okay, so
what's next?
Let's tell the people where we are. I don't know if it's any different from what we've already been saying, but I guess, what would you highlight then? Like, what's a grow and what's a glow of your current relationship status, whatever that may be.
We're single. I did a wink.
Did you wink? I missed it.
It was that eye. I can't really. The left eye looks weird when I wink. Look. See that one? And then look at this one. Because I can do like
on that side, that mouth curls.
Is that weird? I did it at the camera.
It's suggestive.
Oh,
for
no.
sure.
I already did it at the camera.
But I think winks are suggestive, right?
Oh. I guess that's the whole point.
Yeah. Because why else would you be winking if you're not suggesting something?
What are you suggesting?
I don't know. Whatever. I don't know.
You're right. I really hope people be at home laughing like, y'all are some fools.
And grows.
Well, that was the wink was
the wink.
That's why I was like, I'm single. That's part of
glow.
it. The glow is the glow is that I'm content. Yeah. But I'm happy.
Okay.
And not like fake Christian happy. I'm like really happy. When I be at home by myself, I'd be like, this is so fun. I don't got to clean up after nobody. I don't have to, because I was in a relationship, it was so toxic. I'm like, I don't have to come home and argue with nobody.
Dang, yes.
I don't have to dread coming home. I don't have to dread calling you. I don't have to do, I just can
all that tension. That
Oof, yuck. Toxic. No, thank you. Pass. No, thank you. Check, please. So yeah, I'm really happy single, and I feel I don't want to be single forever now, God. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. But I'm happy, and I feel very clear about what he's called me to. And I feel more equipped than ever to actually bring something to the table and to be nurturing and show up as a version of myself that can really love and support somebody. Because like you, I feel like I was thinking a lot about like, what can I give? Like, what can I get? But now I'm thinking about like, what do I bring to the table? And if I become the kind of person that can bring what I want to bring to the table, like, is this a version of myself I would be proud of? And I feel like I'm becoming a version of myself that I think can really bring a lot to a romantic relationship in a way that I couldn't necessarily before, because I had a lot of emotional gunk I needed to just had to clean out. So I feel like I'm in a better position to show up. And that feels good.
I concur.
So that's the glow there's really no grow. It's just I'm learning, but I'm content. And again, I'm just satisfied, and I know his plans for me are good. So
that's good.
I really, really trust that whatever. I was sharing a quote. My sister shared with me a quote from C.S. Lewis that was like, long story short, the paraphrase was like, if he has you waiting, it's because he knows the wait is for your good. He wouldn't have you wait if he didn't know it was for your good. So it's for your good. You're going to be all right.
You're going to be all right.
We're going to be all right. Okay, ma'am. Status. Glows, grows. What you got?
Status, still with my mans.
My man.
He's great. Honestly, great. I think I feel very full when I think about my relationship with him. Aww. And I feel honestly like he really is a blessing. Like he really, really is. A blessing. And I think that hits differently because I think many of us all know people who are in relationships.
Yikes.
And they don't be happy, bro.
They don't be.
They be miserable. They seem sad. They don't seem
happy.
like they actually enjoy each other. But are so quick to be like, but I got somebody, you know, and I feel grateful to be in a season where I can both like celebrate being with someone that I like legitimately am happy about being with, enjoy seeing them grow and like transform before my eyes and
That's
just like
been
become
wild.
a new person. And that is very, very special. I think my grow in that is, we've talked about this before, but not holding so tight onto past versions of the relationship, allowing the relationship to evolve, and allowing him to continue to change before me, and leaving room for that, and not minimizing, like when he does change, being like, oh, well, you probably gonna, it's like, nah, like let that man be different. If like let him be different, you know, and celebrate that. So I want to continue to celebrate his evolution. And I think my glow is that like, as we're preparing to get engaged, I feel like I'm just not so fixated on the moment of the wedding, but actually excited about building a future with someone.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Which is cool. Like I am like grateful that I'm in that space to where I'm not obsessing over what is to come, but I'm actually like excited about like, oh, we get to build a life together. Like, oh, we could start a business together. Like we could do this thing, like, and just kind of dreaming up a future beyond. I just feel like women particularly, it all just becomes about the wedding itself. And that is just like a few hours of a future that you're committing to with someone. And so I think being able to prioritize the future beyond has been dope. So yeah, we good. Shout out to the Lord.
Sounds like we're saying the same thing we said last time. Trust the Lord.
Trust him.
And trusting God with your love story is challenging.
Oh yeah.
We're still walking through it. Like I don't want anyone to be like, oh, well, they've arrived. It's like, no, today we got to trust him with our love story. Tomorrow we got to trust him. We got to trust him with every area of our lives. And it can be hard if you've been single for a while, or if you've been with somebody and broke up, or you're divorced. Like there's so many ups and downs in the love story. And sometimes the older you get, I know sometimes I feel a little bit of pressure of like, should I be doing this by now? You know? So I'd love to hear like, what does it look like for you to trust God with your love story? And how has that impacted like the other areas of your life?
Ooh, big question. Big question here at the end. I think about Psalms 46:10. I think it is.
She knows scripture.
One of the translations says like, "Stop your striving."
Ooh.
It's the be still and know that I am God. But one translation says, "Stop your striving."
That's good.
And know that I am God. And that hits for me because strive is a word that comes up a lot in my life. I have strove. What is the past tense of strive? But it's something that I have done in several seasons, and I always have to be mindful to not do. So trusting God with my love story for me looks like stop your striving.
That's good.
And just trust that I am God. Just like know that I have your back. And I think even in this season of preparing for like the next version of our relationship, it's still like stop striving. Like be good with my timeline, be good with like letting go of control and thinking that you're going to control every element. You're not going to know where y'all are going to live or what your job's going to look like. There are things that you are not going to be privy to, but just know that I got it and I'm with you in this. And I think when I was saying like Jared is truly a blessing, but the blessing throughout that process of stopping my striving was really how I was healed in the process.
That's good.
I was healed to be the person that I wanted to be be able to be in a relationship.
Exactly.
That's the thing that happens. Like the relationship is great and I'm excited about that, but it's really who you become as a result of actually trusting God. Yeah, that's the part that surprises you. It's like, dang, you get to become the person that you wanted to be all along.
All along. And that goes back to our last episode of like, he knew all those moving pieces you needed to become the version that you are now.
Crazy. And when you trust him with that, like, then you can just trust him anywhere.
Yeah.
You know? You truly can trust him anywhere. I think also the last thing I'll say that just kind of came to my mind is like, it's so important to trust God with your love story because who you decide to partner with will impact every area of your life for the rest of your life.
So true.
what you decide to do for work will be impacted by who you decide to partner with romantically. Because there are things that you will have to say no to or have the opportunity to say yes to as a result of that. And so in order to be on the path that God has for you, that hookup is important. It's super important. So, yeah.
Wow. I feel like as you were talking, what I was thinking about is like, if I don't trust God with my love story, I don't trust God.
Period.
It's not that I don't trust him in one area. It literally means I don't trust him.
Yeah.
And I used to think that, well, like if you trust God with your work and then maybe you don't trust him, like it's just that one area. No, you just don't. You don't trust him at all, which means you don't know him. Because if you knew him, you would know how trustworthy he is. If you really knew him, you'd be like, man, you got it.
You got it.
You got it.
That's
so
my dog.
You dapping him up?
Yeah, that was me dapping up the Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that's really the testament. Like, do you trust him? But I think what I'm learning in this season is like, stay in your lane.
Oof.
Just do what I told you to do. Just do, focus on that. I'm gonna do everything else. Like what about, and so I feel like in this season for me, it's look like get clear about what he's called you to do. So I'm just doing that. This work, church, moving. That is my focus because that's what I'm clear about. The other stuff, I'm like, I don't know if that's for this season, but I'm just going to get real clear about what you've called me to do. And I'm putting everything I got into that. And I trust that the other things that I'm desiring, I'm still laying that before you, but I'm not putting all of my affection and time into those things because those things become idle. Like there's a Tim Keller quote around that of like, I'm messing up the quote, but it's something around like what you spend all your time thinking about, your imagination, that piece. So like, oh, your imagination can be part of something being an idol. Yeah, because what's taking up all of your thoughts? And if I think about all of this, like being in a relationship wasn't an idol for me. It was taking up all of my thoughts, all of my imagination, all of my time, all of my emotions. And I just feel like I'm in a season now where it's like, it's not an idol. And I'm just in my lane. I'm like, God, this is what I'm focusing on because you told me to. And you're going to do everything else. And when you say, okay, switch lanes, let's go. And so I think it's just been beautiful to trust him in that and to enjoy what he's given me. And I feel like this has been the best single year of my life because I just see that I have such a great life. Like I'm so full. I'm so content. And I think something I think about a lot. Sometimes I go home and I'm like, God, it's been a really long day. I've worked 12 hours. I've had 10 meetings. I'm about to lead a Bible study. I'm really tired. I'm tired. And sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I had somebody. And he's like, you got me. Every time I'm like, he's like, I feel like he's like, you got me. And what's cool about that is that I'm learning to depend on him now. So when I do get somebody, I'm not running to them to fulfill things that he's like, I got you.
And that they can't do
They
anyway.
literally can't even do it.
They can't. People can't give you rest the way that God can. People can't give you joy the way that God can. No. And like when you are struggling with something, like even recently I've lost a family member and like Jared is there to like pat me on the back, but like he can't speak to the grief in my soul. He just can't. And like that is why there are things beyond human capacity. Yeah, which is why you need God. Regardless of what season you are in, like a person is there to walk alongside you, but they cannot feel you the way that he can.
And it's beautiful that he'll give you seasons to teach you reliance and dependency on him. Like it feels like a punishment that he's like stretching you and making it hard for you. And he's like, I'm teaching you to rely on me in a deeper level, not just for now, but because I know next season, you're gonna need to learn to depend on me. And the season after that, you're gonna need to learn to depend on me. And so I think that that's just really beautiful to like, for me to get focused on what he's calling me to do so I can become the person he's called me to be, not for a relationship, but for me. But for me and for him. Yeah. Because there's a calling on the other side of all these seasons. There's something on the other side of this. And so I think it's beautiful that we have both been able to testify that as we have trusted God with our love stories, we've become the women we wanted to be all along.
That's an end note.
Yeah, let's end it right there, baby. I don't got nothing else to say.
Nah. Well, you do have something.
Well, I do have something else to say.
You do have a couple.
Actually, I have a couple.
You got a couple things.
Scrolls up. Well, we hope y'all have loved cutting up with us. Okay, I hope you've laughed, cried.
Cut up crew.
And we love y'all. But this bless y'all. We hope that you'll send this to somebody, maybe somebody you know who's struggling in their relationship status or just needs a little encouragement. We just hope that you would send this to somebody to encourage them. We hope that you would like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know how this content is hitting you and impacting you. You can follow us on Instagram. We're all over the internet. We on the World Wide Web. I don't know if they still say that, but we on the internet. So just Google us, Instagram, all the things. We love y'all. Stay rooted.